Welcome to the 210 Podcast, Catalytic Conversations with your host, Nathan Buck. How do we create culture that exposes our blind spots and helps us face them? The conversation starts now.
And the dead man walking is a humble man by default.
When we talk about leadership blind spots, we all have them. Like, we all have these places where my natural intuitive engagement is going to come through either being enough, having enough, or doing enough.
Hmm.
What are some things that, rather than spending a whole lot of time looking at the blind spot itself and how it shows up, I think some of the examples I shared earlier are good, as far as expectations that we have that we kind of elevate to standards, or poor
Yeah.
communication that we assume everybody knows what we mean. There's just some leadership gaps, like, and some of that's skill based, and some of that's our blind spots. But when we talk about being able to engage our blind spots, which is something that we said earlier, the humility, the transparency to be able to say, these are shortcomings, right? And I have people around me who are willing to say to me, I get your heart, but that was a miss,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they're willing, and they love me enough to be able to say, you can be better here.
Right.
Then I have a choice, right? I can acknowledge that as a blind spot and I can do some work. So, how do we get to a place where we can cultivate an environment where
Hmm.
our blind spots can be brought to the surface, our blind spots can be seen,
Hmm.
and we're okay receiving that and being and letting God work us and walk us through it. So I'm going to kick that to you.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that I come back again to the personal devotion component, which is as long as we think we're all that and a bag of chips. I kind of remember we say that all the time. Sorry. Yeah, but as long as we view ourselves as having already attained, we leave very little room for even the Holy Spirit to
Mhm.
bring correction into our
Yeah.
life. So there's a humility component, I think, that's actually lacking from the top. So hit on that, I think, first. And then after after that, put your money where your mouth is in prayer and humbling daily in prayer on your knees before God, in actually having a situation where you're actually putting yourself into this arena for the
Mm.
Father who gives every good and perfect gift to lay you bare
Mm.
and and build you back up, because anything good comes out of everything genuine.
Mm.
And my culture reflects either my buy-in or my rejection of humility with God.
Mm.
I actually allow for the people in my sphere to challenge me, encourage me, correct me. Lovingly faithful are the wounds of a friend.
Yeah.
The more that the more that I shut that down, I become the boss.
Yeah.
And I become the guru micromanager.
Right. I think you're spot on as far as the massive nature of humility.
Hmm.
And one of my mentors, Bill Shoemaker, a number of
Oh
years
yeah,
ago, when
yeah.
we talked about humility, he was like, "Yeah, you don't become humble by trying to be humble." And initially, I was like, "Wait, what?" And I was 20, 30 something at the time when he said that, and I really wrestled with it for a little bit, and I was like, "Well, then." I felt almost like the disciples, right? When they go to Jesus and they're like, wait, 70 times seven? Like, well, then who can be saved? This is too hard.
And who, right? Yeah, it's the set. It's the set. Yep,
And
yep.
and he said to me, some wisdom that he had received, and both through things that he had read and through people who poured into him. He said, if you try to be humble by focusing on you, you will never be humble. right?
because the antithesis. You can't.
Right.
It's
You can't. You cannot become humble
impossible.
by
Yes.
looking at yourself and trying to work at humility. Like that opens up a works-based faith,
Yeah,
right? That now
absolutely.
I'm gonna be approved of because I'm aren't I so good at working at myself and being humble? But
Approval. Yeah.
but it brings us back to the simplicity of what Paul says that we need to fix our eyes on Jesus, who is the author
Absolutely.
and perfecter
Oh
of our
my.
faith, right? Because we don't know what humility is apart from looking at him. The only way that I know how to be humble is to first get my eyes off of me, stare at Jesus,
That's
right? And when I stare at Jesus and what it means to be humiliated the way he was,
that. Oh,
that's an automatic gut check, right? Like
absolutely.
because my flesh immediately goes, I don't want that. Right.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, well, all the more reason, right? Like all the more reason why we have,
Yeah.
and,
That's it.
and we watch that example and we go, wow. Like, so I have no capacity to be humble. In the same way, it's like the prayer for patience, right? Like I can't say, God, give me more patience. What God's going to do is give me opportunities to be patient.
That's it.
And those are going to be hard situations. So,
Allowing.
like, it's a dangerous prayer to say, God, help me to be humble. Like, do you realize what you're asking? Like,
Mean that? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Do you really? Because God will do it. He'll do it lovingly, but it will kill your flesh,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. And the dead man walking is humble man by default.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's where I have to be.
yeah. And that is so counterintuitive to us, but yet it's so where we need to be.
Backwards, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Everything.
huge the way you said that. And the other thing that you said was what was that second thing that you said? The more that I embrace my closeness with God and my humility before God, the
Mhm.
more willing I am to hear
Yeah.
the honest feedback. I'm willing to hear from others what reality is.
What I see is closely guarded by what I have built, and what I try to defend and
Mhm.
protect.
Yeah,
Um, if I can get my eyes on the one that started it, because he said the good work started in you, he is faithful to carry it
yeah,
out to completion.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So everything becomes this massive gifted response.
yeah,
And if I can settle in there, and that is hard because fellow leaders may not understand that I don't want to say that you're doing that intentionally, but they may actually see that as weakness, and like misinterpret that as you being weak.
yeah. Or arrogant.
Or,
because you're so
yeah,
because you're because you're
yeah,
so confident
or
in the Lord, right? Like you're
yeah,
confident
or
in what
yeah,
He's called you to
yeah,
rather than your own.
yeah, yeah.